Good evening, everyone, and welcome to The Stakes, brought to you by the Seneca Project. I'm Tara Setmayer. This is my co-founder extraordinaire, Michelle Kinney, who is joining us from the balmy, lovely, humid, insanely hot place of New Orleans in August.
Very, very, very hot. It is, gosh, I think 98 degrees today, and
brutal.
When I walked outside today, I was like, it was like a wall of
Yes.
humidity, and it was just
it's brutal.
atrosh.
It's brutal. DC is brutal in August. The humidity here is oppressive, but it's been raining and we needed the rain. But Michelle is in New Orleans because her sister-in-law has retired from the Marines, and she's pretty badass and is having her whole retirement ceremony. So it's perfect to talk about that because of everything that's going on in the news this week. We've had a vice presidential pick happen. We've had more JD Vance weirdo shit happening with him stalking planes. We had Trump's meltdown today, if you want to call that a press conference, or as the Kamala Harris campaign said, whatever the hell you want to call that. Shout out to their comms team. They are
right. I got all that queued up. We can talk about that too.
Oh my God, there's so much to talk about. And all of this ties into the stakes. Because what is at stake for us? Well, for us, a lot, particularly our democracy. We don't want it to be run by these insane weirdos who want to turn us into some theocratic, authoritarian hellscape that they have made up in their minds. So we don't want that. We want to make sure we have a free and open society and a strong democracy where we can agree to disagree for everybody, right?
Exactly.
For everybody. Where we embrace our differences and embrace the diversity of our country, which is what the Harris-Walz now ticket seems to represent. And that's what we are trying to do here at the Seneca Project, particularly explaining to women what is at stake for us as well. Because according to Donald Trump today, Michelle, abortion doesn't matter. Nobody cares about that. That doesn't matter. Women's health care and rights. No.
I know. It had nothing to do with all the, the Democratic wins in the midterms and how well Kamala Harris is doing now and how women are galvanizing all over the country because we're saying, hell no, we won't go back. And we're not going to go back to a time when women did not have a choice about not only their bodies and their reproductive care, but also choice about what kind of lives they wanted to have, a choice about whether or not they could open a bank account without their husband or their father's permission, whether they could own a home, own land, not be fired from their job because they are pregnant. There's a very long line of achievements. I hate to use the word achievement. That's not right. We've come a long way as women in this country to gain rights and
freedoms,
to be treated freedoms as our male counterparts in this country, because we've come a long way. We still have a long way to go, but we're going backwards right now, and we have to stop that. We have to stop where we are. We cannot lose anymore. We need to restore what we've lost, and there's really only one way to do that, and that's to elect Kamala Harris as the first woman president of the United States.
Which I never would have thought I would ever say or be doing if you had asked me this question 7 years ago, 5 years ago, even. It's pretty remarkable. But I look at this situation and there are a couple of times since the last time we've all gathered, and I want to say hi to everyone. I can see your comments now. Okay.
Yeah.
I was a boomer for a minute and did not know how to see all the comments coming through. I can see the comments now, folks. So if you see me looking away, I can see.
I did want to say same here. I'm also, I don't know if you guys know that if you're joining us for the first time, I'm also producing the show while also talking to Tara. So I'm doing a million things, and we try to do this once a week just so we can have an opportunity to talk to all the people who are supporting our work and supporting our mission. And we're so grateful to all of you who tune in, and we're so grateful to all of you who pitch in, because really every bit of it makes a difference, whether or not you're sharing our content or telling someone about what we're doing, whether you're sending in $5, all of it makes all of it makes a big difference to us, and we're just so appreciative that you're here.
Yes.
So
Thank you
there's
for
a whole
saying
lot
that.
going on. Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, because I think people are used to a certain different type of show or things, but we really just decided to do this so that we could talk to you guys, because we felt like, we needed to talk to you and not at you. And so there may not be the bells and whistles, but this is us, quick and dirty. This is us. I mean, I'll throw on a lash, but it's because I've got the lights, but this is us being able to just really talk to you guys and explain more about what we're doing, why it matters. It's always about why it matters. And thus the name, The Stakes. That's how we came up with it. So we thank all of you for what you guys are doing and hanging with us and contributing, and your comments. Believe me, we go back and we look at the comments and we try to answer as many as we can, because it's just Michelle and I for this portion of it. And so we started this entrepreneurially, just us. So thank you guys for all of it. So, this, I don't even know where to start. You know what? We're going to get to Trump's press conference in a second, because it was just so insane. There was so much going on, but we've got to talk first about Governor Walz. So I, like many people, I didn't know this guy until like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, who is this? And I was one of the people, I admitted I was an establishment snob, thinking she should have picked Shapiro for all the reasons. And
listen, he's really dynamic. There's no reason, you know what I mean? He's a really great governor. He's very popular. There's a lot of reasons why she could have picked him.
And I also thought she may have picked Mark Kelly. But then I started the more I paid attention to Mark Kelly's personality, I said, he's probably not dynamic enough. He looks great on paper, but this is in the era we live in now. It's all about how you present, and they have to have chemistry. You have to be able to, it's a governing partner, you're a campaigning partner. So, but then I thought for sure it was Shapiro. I did not give any weight to Walz. I really didn't. And one of our colleagues was telling us, he was like, pay attention to Walz.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
all right,
I'll start paying attention to him, because he came across as kind of like feisty grandpa. And I was like, okay, I like this. I like this guy. And I love Minnesota. I've been to Minnesota. I've been to the Minnesota State Fair, and Michelle already knows this story. And if you guys listen to me guest host on Smirconish this week, I told the story yesterday, but I actually was at the Minnesota State Fair in 2008 because I was at the Republican convention. It was in Minneapolis, one of 6 freaking Republican conventions I've been to. And the people are the nicest people in the whole world. The state fair is awesome. I ate all kinds of shit on a stick that I probably shouldn't have, and I didn't care. That's what you go there for. I had cheese curds and all kinds of cool stuff. It was great. And the Iowa State Fair is cool too. I had the butter on a stick thing there. But anyway, I love Minnesotans. They're the nicest people. And they have, like the cute little funny accents. They say people from Jersey have funny accents. No, we don't. Everybody else does. But no, they're just so nice. And so I started listening to him more, and I'm like, I love this guy. And he is not your typical, the face of what you think of when you think of progressive. The progressives, you think of the squad. But guess what? 2 of the squad members are out. That's gone too far. Voters have rejected that part of the political wing of the Democrats. Cori Bush just lost her primary this week. Jamal Bowman's already out. So he's not that at all. He actually makes Democratic policies look normal and like representing average Americans. He's a regular guy. Not only that, first of all, we're not the only ones who didn't really know much about Walz. According to a bunch of polls, like 70 to 75% of Americans were like, who is this guy? There he is. He's only 6 months older than Kamala Harris, by the way. So
did you hear the joke he made about that? They're like, why does he look so old? And he said, if you were on lunchroom duty for 20 years, you wouldn't come out with all your hair.
I love this guy.
That's fair.
That's him. The more I hear him talk, the more I see his record. And of course, I don't agree with everything, but who cares? He's a good and decent man that has served this country honorably. And he has, fed hungry kids. He's put tampons in schools and access for women, for young girls. That's a big thing. And they're trying to make that some kind of weakness, calling him tampon Tim. Like, get over yourselves. How immature and juvenile are you? The guy's like won the hot plate recipe of the year or some shit when he was going.
I didn't even know that. You told me about that. You sent me the link.
Yes.
I'm like, what?
He makes like spicy turkey taters or something, and like and won the recipe for the
most
Minnesota
Midwest
delegation
thing I've ever heard.
ever.
I am
Ever.
I love it.
Right?
I love it.
And then, they're over here trying to attack his service in the National Guard. He was the highest ranking enlisted person ever to serve in Congress, Sergeant Major, I believe. And that's the only thing they've got. Trump world is freaking out because they're looking at this guy going, oh my God, he represents everything that Republicans used to think that they had that they owned, right? That kind of, gun toting every day, farmer. No, not anymore. Not anymore. He says, no. And so they are freaking out, and they're over here trying to JD Vance, of all people, who is the running mate of a guy who is a silver-spooned draft dodger, who said that not getting a venereal disease in the 70s was his own personal Vietnam. So you know what? You can F all the way off JD Vance and Donald Trump how dare you come for Tim Walz's service, honorable service to this country. So, and I think that's a good lead into what happened with you today and why you're in New Orleans, just to talk a little bit about your awesome kick-ass Marine sister-in-law.
Yeah. So my sister-in-law retired from the Marine Corps today. She was a lieutenant colonel, judge advocate. She was deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. She has served all over the world. She is an incredible woman. It is not easy to be a Marine. It's a very hard job. It is not easy to be a woman in the Marines. It is not easy to be a woman lawyer in the Marines, dealing with, a structure and a place that really was not built for women at all to begin with. So I have all of the respect for her, her sacrifice, not just for the country, but personally. It's hard. It's hard on our, the family. It's hard on friendships and relationships. And it is the ultimate sacrifice. I mean,
it really is.
Yeah, the colonel that was retiring her today, said a lot of really meaningful things that really hit me pretty hard. I mean, the whole place was just crying.
Yeah.
And just about how 0.5% of eligible Americans in this country serve. It is such a small number of people. And to denigrate someone like Tim Walz, who served for 24 years, it is so beyond anything I could. It is disgusting. It is. And that's all I could think about today, watching her up on the stage and her colleagues and a room full of Marines, both on active duty and also retired. And, they did the stood the watch speech at the end, and I have a couple of pictures here, actually.
Yeah, let's see.
So that's her. That's her getting her retirement. There was a bunch of things that they give, like it's thank you for your service. There's a retirement thing that's actually from the president, which is pretty cool. And there she was. This is during the stood the watch when they give her last flag, and said, "You're retired. It's official." And there's me, and that's her and my husband. So it's a really great day, and we're all super proud of her. And I felt like now, this time of all the times, it was
what a week for that.
Yeah, what a week for that. Really cool to be here, and just so proud of her.
Well, we thank her for her service and salute her. That is incredible. And unlike Donald Trump and these people who are a bunch of wannabes and posers, we actually respect the people who serve honorably. We don't think they're suckers and losers the way Donald Trump does. And I think that Tim Walz, Kamala Harris picking him gives them the ammunition, no pun intended, to take away the meaning of patriotism and what it means to serve and be an American. Because the Republicans have tried to own this for years, right? They
have never
literally embracing the flag. And, for years during the Trump era, we were like, ever since he attacked John McCain, we were like, don't let them take that narrative. Take this back. Like, don't. In 2020, like, you guys don't own the flag and patriotism. Get the hell out of here. And I've said this many, many times that Donald Trump hates everything that makes America great. Hates it. and he denigrates everything that makes America great. And here they are, one of the first things out of the gate, they go after Tim Walz's National Guard record. Now, for those who don't know the story, okay, first of all, the reason why they're doing this is, if you guys are old enough to remember, in 2004, there was something called the Swift Boat Veterans of America, and something that happened to John Kerry, questioning his military service in Vietnam. And he was on Swift boats, and they found these random guys who allegedly were in his unit saying that he was a terrible person. And they Swift boated him, and then he embellished his service and all this. And that really hurt him, because you have to remember, we were only 4 years removed from 9/11.
Right.
We were in, a war over there in Iraq and Afghanistan. So national security and service was a big deal.
Yeah.
The architect behind that effort was Chris LaCivita, who is now Donald Trump's campaign manager, along with Susie Wiles. So this is straight out of that same playbook. Yep. We've all seen this before, and they thought this was going to work. It's not. It's not working. As a matter of fact, there's a huge backlash, because they're finding people who have served with Tim Walz. They're finding former students of his, because he was a teacher also. He was a football coach and a teacher. He was beloved. This guy is beloved. And so it's just not an honorable thing to attack another person's service. Like, you just don't do that, even if you disagree. They found somebody who was in his unit that said, listen, I might not vote for him, I may not agree with his politics, but don't you dare go after his service.
No way.
And this is backfiring on them.
Yeah. And on the 9/11 thing, my sister-in-law actually joined the Marines after 9/11. And that was the reason she joined, because, she's from New York, and that's my city. And, she felt moved to go and serve her country. And
didn't somebody else say something about that, about how men go and join 9/11? It was like, what about the women who did it? Because there were plenty of women who did too.
It was JD Vance.
It was. I should have known.
Who was a Marine for 4 years.
But wasn't he like a journalist or something?
Yeah, he was he did stuff, I think, for like their PR, which the Marines are very, very good at.
They are.
And just like, that's great. Like, that's what he did. That was his skill.
Yep.
That's what he went and served for. And he did.
And he did get deployed. He was forward deployed.
He did. And for those reasons. And listen, even if you're not, on the front lines when you're deployed, it's dicey over there. You're dealing with a lot of situations where you can be in danger very quickly. And he should know better. He does know better than to say the things that he has said. He knows better.
He does.
And that's what makes him even more disgusting and vile, is that he knows better, and he still says it because it's for his own personal and political gain.
That's right, which is everything about JD Vance. He has no idea who he is. He doesn't know who he is. Tim Walz knows who he is. He's been the same guy consistently. Yeah. He hasn't tried to reinvent himself multiple times over to fit a political narrative for political expediency and relevance. Okay, so like, I can't wait for that debate. Tim Walz apparently can't wait for it either, because at that rally on Tuesday when he was introduced in Philadelphia, it was electric. Trump had just been in that same venue at Temple University 2 weeks prior, and they did not sell it out. Okay. And so he's been stewing there. And Josh Shapiro was very magnanimous and gave a great rousing speech before they came out. And that's great. And for those who've been following that, she didn't pick him because he has ambitions of his own. And it was clear that he was not comfortable being number two. Bottom line. That's the main reason. There were a couple other things too politically, but those are, you can always get past those. Yeah. This is actually about whether you can trust who your number two is going to be, because it's bad enough if she wins, she'll be the first woman president, first Black woman president, and she doesn't need to look over her shoulder that her VP's coming for her too. Sure. So she didn't get that right.
She needs a partner, a governing partner.
And she's got that with Tim Walz. So, but that speech, when he cracked that joke about that he's ready, he can't wait to debate JD Vance. If he gets off the couch, if he, it was great. I mean,
it was so good. It
offense,
was like,
offense.
It was offense. And, a lot of the pearl clutching online about, and I've seen some of it on Twitter.
They need to shut the hell up.
Okay. Yeah. They're like, well, it's a rumor and it's not even true. And I'm like, we all know it's not true, but it's funny. And the thing that's funny about it is that at first we thought it was true.
It
could have been.
Because he's a weirdo. And it was Tim Walz who
weird.
started it. Tim Walz is the author, the originator of this whole weirdo memes that are going around calling Trump and JD Vance and those guys weird. And I don't know how long it's going to stick, but it's been sticking so far. And I have to be honest, like, we put out this really great video compilation introducing our Seneca Project folks to Tim Walz, because we were being introduced to him too. So we were like, ladies, we'd like to introduce you to Tim Walz. Take a look.
The choice is in Minnesota Governor Tim Walz.
Her pick is Minnesota Governor Tim Walz.
He's affable, he's likable,
he's joyful.
He is a veteran, a hunter, a father.
He is a football coach.
He's a former high school teacher.
This is not a coastal elite guy.
He won in rural Minnesota over and over and over again.
They see people less fortunate as scapegoats and punchlines for their jokes. We see them as neighbors.
You have my pledge. As long as I am governor, IVF will continue to be a lifeline of hope for families just like mine.
Thank God for IVF. My wife and I have 2 beautiful children.
With Tim on our side, we're unstoppable.
One of the most productive governors.
Minnesota today codified abortion rights.
He cut taxes for working families.
Passed universal background checks on guns.
We have universal breakfast and lunches for our children, all the children.
What a monster. Kids are eating and having full bellies so they can go learn, and women are making their own health care decisions.
This is preaching to the choir, but the choir needs to sing.
Amazing. And the other part about this that I didn't know until recently was that he not only is a girl dad, but that he's an IVF girl dad, and that they named their daughter Hope because of the IVF process, and they were able to have the miracle of having a daughter because of the science of IVF. So you could not have asked for a better contrast to JD Vance and what MAGA is doing and Trump and all of that than what Tim Walz represents. Good luck trying to land a punch on this guy as you're moving forward. And just to button a couple things up too, for anyone that's like trolling us, I don't know if there are any today, but this idea of stolen valor is just so offensive, not only because of everything we've already said, but because it's not even remotely true. He put in his papers to retire when he decided to run for Congress. The timing of this was before his unit was notified they could possibly be called up to go to Iraq. So he had already submitted his papers, and anyone who served in the military or served in in law enforcement, when you put your retirement papers in, you don't retire the next day because there's kind of stuff you have to wrap up and all of this and that. So he had done this already. And then they found out, possibly this unit might get called up. But then they found out that the unit was fully staffed. They approved his retirement. So this is bullshit. It's made up. Just like a lot of other things Donald Trump makes up. Like today in the press conference, he made up that he almost went down in a helicopter crash with former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown. Bizarre. Willie Brown went on record today and was like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. I've never been in a helicopter with Donald Trump. He did have a helicopter crash scare, but it had nothing to do with Donald Trump. Completely made up, this guy. A nut.
Just a nut. It's amazing, actually.
It's unbelievable. Why did Trump even have that press conference today? Because Kamala Harris and Tim Walz have been killing it since Tuesday, going on this, campaign stops, basically doing something similar that Trump did with the airplane, the Air Force Two in the back and the hangars.
I saw it was the hangar. I was like, yes, girl.
Shout out to the advanced team. They're very smart. You take those optics, and it's been driving Trump nuts. Kamala Harris's rallies have been packed to the gills. She's been packing out places that he couldn't pack out. She had 30,000 people in Wisconsin yesterday. Then they did the thing in Michigan. And then she had hecklers yesterday. And she set them straight. If you haven't seen this, take a look.
You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that. Otherwise, I'm speaking.
Listen,
I made sure to include all like of her just looking around because I'm like, it's so good.
It's so good. As the kids say, she gathered them all the way together. Gathered them. And the fact that she was able to, I don't know if that was planned or if she had that line already.
Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. She delivered it.
She
pretty damn good.
Delivered it very naturally. And then the folks in the comments are calling it the mama glare. You know, listen, everyone has gotten that glare from somebody before. I didn't get in trouble really as a kid, so my mom never did that to me. But I have lots of friends whose moms did that to them, or teachers.
Oh, I got that look
do that
many times.
That is the, you know, please do not make me come over here and have to do whatever to you, right? She wasn't playing around. And I tweeted out, I was like, Donald Trump wants no parts of her in a debate. She will wipe the floor with him.
Oh, yeah.
You have to remember, she was a prosecutor. So she's not playing around. And she resurrected the I'm speaking thing again. So that's going to be
so good.
I think that's going to be a thing again. Like, it's just been so good. And Donald Trump has been losing his shit. Because he's been off the campaign trail. Because why? Last Saturday, he was on the campaign trail in Georgia and insulted a very popular governor in Georgia, insulted his wife. People don't like this. They don't. That might be great for the like inbred incels that go to his Trump rallies, but that doesn't work for the moderates and women who are just regular voting.
People. We're just regular people,
right,
who just want to live their lives and not, you know, not be mean and cruel. It's just so, it's the worst of us. He is the worst of us.
Really,
he represents the worst of us, and we're tired of him. That's another part of this too. We have been dealing with this man as a candidate for 8 years.
9.
Oh my God, 9 years. I guess
from 2015 when he came down the stupid escalator.
Jesus.
I know.
And like people are, I saw some interview with a gal, I think she was in Washington Square Park or something. And she said, yeah, I mean, the first time he ran, I was in 5th grade. And she was like a grown person.
Well, right. She was like a grown ass person now.
Yeah, she's like a college student or something. I'm like, oh my God. And you know, people are just tired of it. The cruelty, the chaos, the corruption, the lying, just like the buffoonery of all of it.
The unseriousness of it, you know, all of it. It's the weirdness of it. I have to say, weird applies. This has been some weird shit. And you know who said it first? It was President Bush. Shout out to George W. I love him. But he said it after the inauguration. Remember, it was reported he was sitting there at the inauguration of Trump and was like, this is some weird shit. Yep. Little did he know how weird it actually was going to become, and dangerous and awful. And you're right, Michelle, this whole thing about people are tired of it. We're exhausted. And something else that Walz said during his big coming out speech, he said that Kamala Harris's campaign is bringing joy back to the country.
Yeah.
And I was like, that word was picked out on purpose. Because Donald Trump represents darkness and sinister, evil, hellscape, horribleness. Like, everything is terrible. The guy doesn't smile or laugh ever. And here you have.
I was thinking about that the other day.
Right.
Like, honestly, I'm like, have you ever seen Donald Trump really laugh?
Right, like a good belly laugh.
Something made him happy. Something tickled him and thought it was funny, and he just really let it out. Never.
You can ask Mary Trump, his niece, who's on our advisory board. She'll be the first to tell you. Never. He's a miserable freaking human being. And he's trying to thrust that miserableness. JD Vance calling the cat ladies miserable, that we're the ones that are ruining the country. No, it's you people that are miserable and awful and that can't see the forest through the trees and see how wonderful this country is, flaws and all. Like, it's terrible. Speaking of the cat ladies, if you guys notice, I have our Seneca Project cat lady shirts are out. A couple people have had them and posted them. Thank you. When you get your gear, please post them, because today's International Cat Day.
It is?
It is. I know. My mom posted it and I was like, oh, I could wear my cat lady shirt. So I have my cat lady votes t-shirt. We have a couple different versions of it. We've got this childish cat lady votes. We have crazy cat lady votes and cat ladies vote. So, and we have mugs too.
Yep.
Yeah. And I got my Seneca Project flag. So we have our Seneca Project custom vintage flags. So mine came in, and
oh no,
blanket. I've got to send you one, Michelle. I'm going to order one for you. So we have all of them too.
I'm so sorry. Is it my internet that's going out?
Maybe. I'm still going.
Okay, I'm on very shitty hotel Wi-Fi, so I apologize if I like stop like this.
Let's hope
usually
not.
I'm like pretty good, and then you were kind of sticking a little bit, and I'm like, I think it's me. I think it's me. So anyways,
all right. Well,
everyone watching, I apologize.
Well, we have storms here coming through. We're getting the remnants of Debbie coming through here, right? Isn't that what the hurricane was called? The storm? That's my mom's name. But anyway,
I think so.
So we're getting the remnants of that. But so in case if everything goes out, that's why. Or Donald Trump is running around pulling the plug on stuff because he can't stand the fact that more people are probably watching us than have been at his rallies lately. And definitely more people are watching us right now than were at JD Vance's stupid rally yesterday in Wisconsin.
Was like in a parking lot.
Yeah, what was that? It was like four what is it, landscaping? What was it called? Four Seasons landscaping parking lot. Well, he was doing that while Kamala Harris had 30,000 freaking people. Really? And so what happened? So Donald Trump was stewing and decided that he had to get out in front of the cameras because how dare anybody have bigger crowds than him? We all know that the crowd size thing is an overcompensation for being inadequate in other areas. He's obsessed with size. And we all know.
He really is.
We know why. Stormy Daniels told us why.
I know.
That's why.
Again, it's weird. Sometimes I'm like, I search for the word and I'm like, that's it. It's weird.
It is. It's weird and it's deranged. And his press conference today, he spent probably a full third of the press conference obsessed over the crowd size. He came out there all pissed off and just kind of like started talking about it. And then he was like, our crowds are much smaller and I had the greatest crowds ever. Do we have the clip of where he actually said that he had a bigger crowd than Martin Luther King at I Have a Dream?
I don't know which clip that is, but we have two of them and I'll play both.
Let's play them because we watched it so you didn't have to, folks. Go ahead.
Never see the picture of the crowd. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken. I've spoken to the biggest crowds. Nobody's spoken to crowds bigger than me. If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, his great speech, and you look at ours, same real estate, same everything, same number of people. If not, we had more. And they said he had 1 million people, but I had 25,000 people. But when you look at the exact same picture, and everything's the same because it was the fountains, the whole thing, all the way back to from Lincoln to Washington, and you look at it, and you look at the picture of his crowd, my crowd, we actually had more people. They said I had 25,000, and he had 1 million people, and I'm okay with it because I liked Dr. Martin Luther King. Yeah, but on crowd size, in history, for any country, nobody's had crowds like I have, and you know that. And when she gets 1,000 people and everybody starts jumping, you know that if I had 1,000 people would say, that's the end of his campaign. I have hundreds of thousands of people.
Okay. Okay. The body language, the obsession with the accordion hands were going. They were going. He was playing German polkas right there, the whole time. Trust me, I know. My grandfather, rest in peace, Gramps, played accordion. Okay, I listened to
my
German
father-in-law plays too.
We talked about this, right?
Yeah,
Your Italian father-in-law plays accordion.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather played accordion. My German grandfather. And when I was a little kid, I played violin, and I would accompany him when I was little. He plays accordion. I'd play my violin. And my stepdad is from Croatia, also plays accordion. So believe me, we know what the accordion hands look like. He was like wound up. He is becoming completely undone. He looks
terrible too. Not that he ever looks good, but
he looks
you know what I mean?
Almost.
Yeah.
I think he's on the Ozempic because he looks like he's lost weight, but he doesn't look healthy. He's
not getting enough protein.
Yeah, clearly. Oh, yeah. Maybe he needs a little love or a little joy in his life. That's what he needs. How about you have a little joy, Donald? Why don't you try it sometimes? Jesus. So anyway, he was going off about that. And I'm like, did he really just say that he had a crowd larger than Martin Luther King's most famous I Have a Dream speech? I hope that Donald Trump goes out and does these press conferences every day.
Please
do this every day so the American people can see what a crazy, deranged old fool he is and say, do we really want to go back to that?
Yeah.
Do we want to go back to that? And he also attacked Kamala Harris's intelligence, which as women, we have been in places where men have attacked our intelligence and our competence because they're threatened by us. It's always that. Even back in the day, during the Seneca Falls times and the suffragist movement, men would say, oh no, we can't get the women riled up because they don't have the mental capacity.
No, they're
handle politics. That's why they can't vote. Oh no, they can't wear pants.
What's a woman going to do with a vote?
Right. God, but they're on bicycles now. They've got bloomers and bicycles. I mean, enough of
horror.
This. Right. The horror. Oh, the humanity. Women are freaking sick and tired of this. And he displays it all the time. He went back onto the black thing. I don't care what she is, but
we have that. You want to watch that?
Play it. It's nuts.
Mr. President, Kamala Harris's father is Jamaican American, and she went to a historically black college. How is she only recently deciding to be black?
Well, you'll have to ask her that question because she's the one that said it. I didn't say it. So you'll have to ask her. And I very much appreciate that question, but you'll have to ask her. But I've known her for a long time. I actually contributed to her campaign a long time ago because I was a developer. I contributed to lots of campaigns of Democrats, Republicans, and some were liberal and some were conservative. But you'll have to ask her about that. But to me, it doesn't matter. But to her, from her standpoint, I think it's very disrespectful to both, really. Whether it's Indian or black, I think it's very disrespectful to both. To me, it doesn't matter.
Okay, first of all, bullshit. Yes, it does matter. Because if it didn't matter, he wouldn't be bringing it up.
That's
Number
right.
two, he is a certified racist and has been his whole life. His first act as a businessman was getting sued by the Justice Department for housing discrimination against people of color.
Yes.
He's been a freaking racist his entire life. Okay, like, stop it. You're not going to gaslight us into believing that you're all of a sudden some newfound, accepting person of all colors and think it's beautiful. You're not the United Colors of Benetton. Like, stop. And I have to say, and I've said this before because I'm a mixed race. And I've posted pictures of me and my mom. And I talk about my family all the time. There's 35 million of us and more growing because there's so many mixed race families in this country. And it's so offensive because it's regressive. He can't stand the fact that there are people that are of mixed race, that are different cultures and ethnicities that make this country great. I just saw in the comments, the Bear Hudson just made a comment about how he has a black daughter and that it brought tears to his eyes to see you and I together doing what we do because she sees herself in me. And with her and you and with her friends, like we are the future. Like this is how it's supposed to be, where we all get along and we all accept each other as Americans first. And I can't tell you how much that comment really meant to me, particularly because I don't really realize that, but this has impact. Michelle, like what you and I are doing and how we do it, it really makes a difference. And that's why we do this. It's for the daughters of Bear Hudson and the daughters who look like you and look like me, that look to us, the 3 stars of our logo, the past, the present, the future. That's what the women who came before us did so we could do this. That's why we're doing it. We're not going to let these bastards take us back to a time where we didn't have the same rights. And Donald Trump is not going to get away with making these kinds of comments and denigrating people of color and women. No, we've had it with this shit. And I'm telling you, they are underestimating how upset women and families and men, the dads of these girls, they've had it. And Tim Walz is going to go out there and he's like the America's dad now. He's like Ted Lasso. That's what you said.
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. My favorite in the whole world. He's like Ted Lasso. I love it. But it's true. And that's what I really do, Michelle. I think there's a thirst for this positive message. Yeah. Positive message. Does the country have problems? Sure. It's not the hellscape that they're trying to make it sound.
No.
Not. It will be if they win.
This American carnage.
Right. That's right. American carnage. That was his first inauguration speech.
Yeah.
American
dream is dead.
Right. What? Bullshit. So I you know what? We should play bully pulpit prick because
do you want to see the clip, or maybe just make us more mad? The one about him saying Kamala's not very smart.
No, we don't need to. We don't need to. We already know he said it. But we're going to remind people of how many times he said this about women when he was president of the United States. And
while he was president.
That's right. We're not trying to do this again. Bully pulpit prick. Here it is.
All presidents have the power of what's known as the bully pulpit.
During this serious international crisis, President Trump was busy attacking women.
There's something wrong with the woman.
She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. She's mean. She's crazy. She's vicious. She's lost it. She is incompetent.
President Donald Trump has attacked the British Prime Minister Theresa May.
He attacked Oprah Winfrey, Sally Yates,
Susan Rice,
Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski.
He called Maxine Waters low IQ.
She's a real beauty.
The president launching a personal attack on MSNBC host Mika Brzezinski.
Now he's attacking Omarosa, comparing her to a dog.
The president lashed out, calling Stormy Daniels, I'm quoting the president now, horse face.
Remember the woman crying? Martha Raddatz,
He attacks women reporters far more often than he attacks men.
You ask a lot of stupid questions. So horrid in the way you ask a question. You know you're a fake. I know you're not thinking. You never do.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
The president also found time to launch a Twitter attack on Bette Midler.
He's attacking Jamel Hill.
Speaker Pelosi,
Hillary Clinton,
Michelle Obama, a 16-year-old climate activist.
He openly mocked Christine Blasey Ford.
What neighborhood was it in? I don't know.
President Trump is someone who knee-jerk attacks the credibility of female accusers.
She's made this charge against others.
Carol claims Trump assaulted her.
I saw her in a picture. She is not my type. Kamala Harris, she could never be the first woman president.
Do American women in this country, can they know that the president has their back?
Well, absolutely not, Katie.
What do I need to say? What do we need to say? Is this who we want our daughters to see in power? Is this who we tell our daughters and our granddaughters that this is who America chose to represent us again?
And is this the kind of man that we want the women who serve in this in our military to have to salute to?
Amen to that. Amen to that. And I say, not no, but hell no. You'll hear that as a recurring theme in our Seneca Project content, because I think it embodies how women feel. Hell no, we don't want that again. No, we're not doing that. We won't go back. And I want to say that seeing Kamala Harris use that as one of her campaign slogans,
I know,
we'll not go back, or we're not going back. I was like, what? We were ahead of the curve on it. If you watch our first ad, The Time for Choosing, and our Seneca Falls ad, we won't go back is in there. We even say, hell no, we won't go back. So we're getting ready to re-release that with some updates. So stay tuned for that. There was a poll that came out this week by my friends up at UMass. One of my good friends runs he's a co-director of the UMass Amherst poll. And he sent this to me this morning because they've been releasing some of the results. And I should have sent it to you, Michelle, so we could put it up on the screen. But this way I can send people, go check out the UMass Amherst poll today. Alex will be very happy. One of the questions is America ready for its first African-American female president? Any guess on what percentage of Republicans said no? Michelle, I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah. Sorry.
What percentage of Republicans said no, the country's not ready for a black female
president? A lot, probably.
Give me a number. It's like Price is Right.
I don't know, 60, 70?
More than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
92.
It's like 63%. We're like, no.
What about Democrats? What did
Democrats? It's 81%. No. 61% said they strongly agree or somewhat agree. So 61 plus 28. I don't have my glasses. Okay, 81%. 81% said they either somewhat or strongly agree that America is ready.
That it is ready. Okay.
Is ready.
That makes
positive one. Yes. Mm-hmm. And for Republicans, it was a whopping 19% said, oh yeah, strongly agree or somewhat agree that America is ready. Okay, so don't tell me this isn't about race. And I have been a person who has always been reticent to default to race on things, but you can't deny it now. You can't. It's racism and sexism, and it is. And for people who are like, "Oh, you guys are identity politics," it's the truth. We live it every day, people. We live it every day.
Exactly. It is identity politics because they keep making it identity politics.
Yes.
We're just out here just trying to move forward and move up and, have opportunities that everyone else has. And they're trying to make it about something else. Like, oh, you can't, you're a woman. Oh, you can't, you're a woman of color. Oh, you can't, you're a person of color.
Yeah.
You're gay, you're bi. Like all of these things. They put people in boxes and say, no, sorry, you can't.
That's right. And what did Tim Walz say this week too? The government should mind your damn business when it comes to people's freedoms and women's reproductive health and women's choices. Mind your damn business. I remember when Republicans used to be about that. It's part of the reason why I was a Republican. Individual freedom. We don't want the government all up in our shit all the time. No.
Right.
Now it's the complete opposite. And you've got them out here doing weird things. I can't stop saying weird now because it doesn't, it's like it applies.
You know what? Remember on Pee Wee Herman, there was like the word of the day.
Yes, Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Right. It's just, that's our word now.
It's the word of the election. It's weird. And we need Cherry and all the other ones in the back to go every time, right?
He's the guy who, it was all, listen, I love Pee Wee. I watched.
Me too. Remember when Paul Rubens died and we were all so upset about it?
All really sad.
And then what did we do? My husband and I set up our little outdoor projector screen that we take when we go, and we watched Pee Wee's Big Adventure like outside on our deck because an homage. But anyway, because we're nerds.
Really quick on that.
Yeah,
I saw a tweet the other day. Oh my god, and it was like, I'm gonna murder the joke, but it was something like, I don't know who JD Vance is, but he definitely stole Pee Wee Herman's bike or something.
Yes, he looks like the dude from the movie.
Yeah, I know you are, but what am I? Yeah.
All the time. I used to say
it was JD Vance without a beard.
Without a beard.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, what was the name? It's gonna bug me now. Somebody in the comments has to remember the name of the villain in Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
Pee Wee's Big Adventure stole the bike, but
he
does. I can see
he went looking for it in the basement.
It was Francis. Francis. Oh my God. Yes. So good. But I used to say that term all the time. And it's the Pee Wee Herman, I know you are, but what am I? Tactic that Trump uses because he calls everybody else what he actually does. He's like he's like a child. So
always.
You
know what? Like, I mean, anything that he's telling somebody else, oh, they're doing this it's what he's doing.
What
it's he's thinking about doing, wanting to do, already doing.
All of it. And you know what? This whole thing about back to the crowd size thing, and then I want to talk about Kamala's rally today with the union workers, because I think it's a good point about how we're just out here as average Americans trying to live. But Ruth Ben-Ghiat, the professor of history, who specializes in authoritarianism and fascism, wrote the great book Strong Men. She's on our advisory board. She was talking today about Trump's obsession with crowd size, saying how this is another page out of the authoritarian playbook, and how Mussolini used to bus people in, like in the days and toward the end when he was really losing it, that they would like bring, I guess I don't know if they bus people, but they bring people in to pad his events so that he could say how popular he was and how wonderful he was. And it really wasn't. They were there like under duress.
Right.
This is the same thing that Trump does. And Trump did pay people. He made that accusation today. I know you didn't see the thing because you were at your sister's ceremony, but he made that accusation. I had to chuckle. People remember they would pay people to go to his rallies in the beginning.
His announcement when he came down the escalator, I remember they put
$50 or something.
Yeah, it was like a Craigslist thing. Come do this thing, hang up the signs or whatever, and like hang out in the lobby of Trump Tower. And those people were not all there because they loved him. Like they were there because it was $50.
Right. Well, his wife isn't there because she loves him either. So let's just be honest about that. So he's surrounded by people who are paid to be around him. Let's just be honest, because he's such a despicable human being. So, anyway. But I know you wanted to talk about this, and I think it's important because you were saying how Republicans have stolen away kind of the everyday average blue collar voter from Democrats when it used to be the other way around. And that's true. So,
Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about it a little bit because, Tara and I, we both grew up, blue collar kids. My dad was a firefighter, 3 generations of firefighters on my dad's side and 4 generations of law enforcement on my mom's side. And my dad led his union for a while. And I feel like I learned a lot watching him do that. I'm also a member of a union myself, the Actors Equity, which is for theater. And
we love Papa Kinney, by the way. He's doing better. He's doing good. He's recovering well from his cancer surgery. So shout out to Papa Kinney.
So it's something that's always really bothered me because my father had told me that his grandfather growing up, who was also a firefighter, had said, if you are a working person, if you care about working people, you vote for Democrats. And this was obviously during a time of Roosevelt, FDR, he grew, came of age during that time. And it's something that's always bugged me. Like, where did Democrats lose their way? Now, if I don't probably know enough of the intricacies of the history of the party to really, be able to wrap my mind around when and how it happened. But somewhere we lost our way. And I think that the Republicans really were able to drive a wedge with culture issues. And people feeling left behind, and here's who to blame. And it's women, it's immigrants, it's gay people, it's this. And aren't you so angry? And I feel like, Joe Biden was the first president in the United States to be on the picket line with union people.
That's right. As president.
Yep. And Kamala Harris was,
as a senator.
Yes. I mean, it is remarkable. And I feel like Kamala Harris has learned so much. I mean, obviously from her own upbringing, but also from Joe Biden. Like he has been a champion for middle-class working people his entire career because he is one. He was one. And he was raised by them. And he understands that working people and the middle class are the backbone of this country. And they're the people who've built this country, specifically in the last 120 years.
Yep.
And I'd love to play, I think one of the best surrogates I think that the campaign has is the president of the United Auto Workers Union. His name is Sean Fain. I hope I'm saying that right. Sean Fain. I think he is awesome. And if you have a couple minutes here, I'd like to just show a couple things from the rally that they did in Michigan the other day before we'll show the Kamala Harris one.
It's very smart.
They talk about who you love, where you're from, or how you look. The working class has been left behind, and I don't know how you feel, but I'm fucking angry. It's a question we've made famous in the labor movement. Which side are you on? And this is a simple question in this election, because on one side, you got a billionaire that serves himself and his billionaire buddies. He lies, he cheats, and he steals his way to the top. He's a lapdog for the billionaire class. And on the other side, we got a strong, intelligent, and I'm just going to put it bluntly, a badass woman. And I got to finish that sentence. A badass woman who stood on the picket line with striking workers.
I mean,
yes.
And especially to have a woman candidate being able to connect with a lot of these, union people who are, there are a lot of guys, a lot of the, in this movement. And, you see all the guys with their hard hats, like in a line and stuff. And, I think there's been this kind of idea that women can't connect in the same way that somebody like Joe Biden or even like, unfortunately, Donald Trump, who is in no way, no how a champion of working people in this country. If anything, he does the opposite and cheats people and contractors out of money and sues them. And I mean, you know, from being from New Jersey and
Yep.
I'm from New York, we hear stories about, you know, small businesses and contractors dealing with Donald Trump's businesses
Ruin
and
their
being
lives.
completely cheated out of,
Mhm.
ruin their lives. And so seeing Kamala Harris today in Wayne, Michigan, speaking to the UAW and talking about hard work. And I think this is just another thing I wanted to say is that one of the things, there was a lot of, oh, Kamala Harris, you know, her staff doesn't like her. She's mean. Nobody likes her. Okay. One of the reasons people say this is because Kamala Harris works incredibly hard. She has an impeccable work ethic. She demands from the people who work with her that they also have that work ethic and that they're prepared for everything and anything that comes their way. Now, I'm a person who also has that kind of work ethic and has, in my career, also been denigrated for that, punished for it, talked down to, told, get out of here, we don't want you here. So to hear her talk like this at a union event today, I thought was awesome, and I just love to play it.
And so I say to all the members of UAW, and Sean Fain is the first who I talked to about this, I am so deeply honored as a lifelong supporter of union labor for Tim and I to have the endorsement of UAW. So deeply honored. Because you walk your walk. You walk your walk. And what we know, like we have talked about, we got 89 days to get this done. You know, the one thing about all of us is we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is good work. The thing that we like about hard work is we have fun doing hard work. Because we know what we stand for. And that's a big part of this campaign. You know, when you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for. We know what we stand for, and we stand for the people. And we stand for the dignity of work. And we stand for freedom. We stand for justice. We stand for equality. And so we will fight for all of it. And the bottom line about UAW is that I also know, and I'll say to all the friends watching, look, even if you're not a member of a union, you better thank unions for that 5-day work week. You better thank unions for that 8-hour work day. You better thank unions for that vacation time. So I'm here to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to the sisters and brothers of UAW for all you are and all we will do over these next 89 days. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. We're going to get this done.
I'm so glad you showed those. I'm so glad. And, you know, for all the years that I fought on the other side and, you know, complained about unions driving up costs for consumers and all this and all that, you know,
listen, not every union's perfect.
Right.
That's for sure.
That's right. But at the same time, I have a different appreciation, a whole new appreciation for what unions have done for the middle class in this country. I mean, my grandfather, as a police officer for 40 years, was part of the PBA. You know, he used to go to those PBA meetings, and it was really that was really important to him. And our PBA cards got me out of a lot of speeding tickets when I was younger in Jersey. But no, my mom was in show business. She's still a part of SAG, you know, part of the union. Like, this is a part of the fabric of our country. And I think that bringing this back to reinvigorate this part of the country is so hugely important. And you looking at this, and it's like, Alexa telling me to take my trash cans out. It must be 8 o'clock.
We know, because I'm usually talking to you after the show when that happens. So I'm like,
That's Alexa in the back telling me to take my trash cans out. But anyway, the unions are just, it's the fabric of the middle class, and it's given an end for a lot of minorities in Detroit and in those Rust Belt states. It gave a life to minority families coming out of Jim Crow, coming out of the Jim Crow South and the Great Migration North. So, you know what? Leaning into that and getting those endorsements it's really important for Kamala Harris and Walz to win. They have to go through the blue wall, and that's where this is how it starts. And we're gonna remember speeches like this when she wins.
Yes, and I think that speaks even more to why she chose Tim Walz.
100%.
And because he represents that, because that's what he is.
Yeah.
He was a school teacher. He was raised in a middle-class family. Neither one of them went to Ivy League schools.
Yeah.
And I just think that he represents so much of where so many of us come from. We understand it, and it's not bullshit.
That's right.
Neither of them are bullshitting us.
No.
They mean it, and they care. And it is so invigorating to watch this happen. It is just so cool. And I love it.
And listen, Michelle, you welcomed me to the K-Hive because I had to come around on Kamala. I did. And this version of Kamala, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm here for it. And we're going to win this thing.
Yeah,
I'm 100% in. And we hope that those of you who are supporting our efforts at the Seneca Project will help us to help galvanize those women so that they can be part of the K-Hive too. For now, just we don't care what they do after. We got to make sure Donald Trump doesn't win this time. We do care what happens after. But what's most important now is that we make sure that we beat back the scourge and the ilk and the malignancy of Trumpism, because that will destroy our country. What Kamala Harris and Walz represent it will reinvigorate our country. We're going to make America joyful again. And on that note, thank you guys. We will see you next week as we prepare for the DNC, which is the week after, which I cannot believe we're already in August. It's crazy. Michelle, do we have Yes We Can?
Yes, we do.
We're going to end with Yes We Can on a high note, because why not? We're going to make America joyful again and win this thing. We'll see you guys next week.
This election, it will come down to the women turning out in the battleground states.
We know that when women show up, we win.
We've got one job to do. We have got to beat Donald Trump and elect the first woman president of the United States.
We have work to do. We have doors to knock on. We have people to talk to. We have phone calls to make. And we have an election to win.
It is a brand new race.
It's a moment that I feel like people are energized.
Kamala Harris is bringing that energy.
Women are fed up. This is their lives. This is their body on the line.
Birth control is at stake.
I cannot vote for a man who rolls back women's reproductive rights.
If Trump gets the chance, he will sign a national abortion ban, but we are not going to let that happen.
Abortion advocates are going to come out even harder for her because they know that she has been their champion in the White House.
The government should not be telling a woman what to do with her body.
It was Kamala Harris that was cross-examining the very nominees that became the justices that overturned Roe v. Wade.
Vice President Harris, former prosecutor. Donald Trump, convicted felon.
I will proudly put my record against his.
She has overcome and overperformed and been underestimated at every turn of her career.
She's broken and smashed glass ceiling after glass ceiling.
And for all of those people asking, is this country ready for a woman president? Is this country ready for a black woman president? Well, you better get ready, because Madame Vice President is coming your way.